Good afternoon, everyone. Gabe Velazquez here with you, transparenttrading-solutions.com on a Friday. This is 7th of June. Non-farm payrolls, no impact whatsoever on stocks. However, rates did jump. And interesting that stocks didn't fall back down. It's just a choppy session today on the indexes. There were a lot of standouts. Let's get right into the charts. We did, again, sign up. I have a class coming up on Thursday. Interesting because we have some mean reversion type of situations developing for next week. We have CPI the same day that the Fed announces their latest rate policy, which can be a really interesting situation on following next Wednesday, just kind of looking forward. Let's get right into the charts and start with obviously the S&P and really not a lot on the index level. Let's get into that real quick. So on the index level, we have the S&P just chopping around at new highs. So there's really not a lot to talk about. We've got some levels below here. The one, again, I've been mentioning the Dow. The Dow did come up into this area here, trying to pull back. This again speaks to the narrowness of the rally where, just again, mega cap tech is really driving the whole thing. RSP, the equal weight is still down. So this is really speaks to the narrow rally. Russell, just nothing going on there, just kind of just sitting here. So on the index level, NASDAQ and S&P chopping around at all-time highs. There's not a lot to talk about. Bitcoin also kind of pulled back hard today, which was interesting. We still cannot get above this, and today's kind of little minor sell-off is kind of an interesting situation. We could get a pull back down into some of these levels here in Bitcoin futures as well. VIX hitting, looks like it's headed back down to lows. Big move today in rates. Initially, you got the big reaction, and then we just kind of died. So there was no follow through throughout the rest of the day after the big jump from the hotter jobs number. And so again, for now, looks like the stocks are okay because, again, this speaks to perception being that the hotter economy still is going to be good for profits as long as it's not too hot. It was just a mixed bag all over the place. Again, the rates are now in no man's land and coming into the Fed next week and CPI. I think CPI is actually going to be more important because, again, that's inflation. This is just speaks to, the labor market and all that. Wages were okay, but yeah, interesting. And also the dollar rallied hard. That's another interesting dynamic with rates jumping. The dollar did jump. Of all the currencies that I've been looking at, Swissy could be setting up for some pullbacks. Yen holding pretty steady, which is could be a bottoming process here. And the Mexican peso, which I talk about constantly because of the movement, just got smacked today. And it is now approaching some, now we've had this huge sell-off in the Mexican peso, maybe approaching some decent levels below current price, which we'll be looking at next week to see if we can get down below these levels here. We never got up. We never had a rally, and I remember I never had a rally big enough to get up here. Also, with this dollar strength, had huge sell-off in the metals, bringing silver right back down to possibly some levels here. Gold also sold off, maybe breaks 2,300. That's a key level to look at. Copper also breaking down. Maybe that's probably peaking, which is really interesting. Probably mean reversion takes it back down to maybe in the low fours. You can see finally breaking down. And oil chopping around, trying to get a rally, but couldn't get any kind of traction here. And the standout again is nat gas. Looks like nat gas may be poised finally to break out. Depends on, we'll see what happens this weekend if we get a gap. We had that gap yesterday. We had a lot of chop. we had that gap from last weekend here, and then we kind of just we had an initial pop here, came back, very choppy, but still very clearly looks to go up. Looks like it's maybe, if it takes out this level there, and maybe heads back up to maybe 315 or maybe even higher on nat gas. So that's looking somewhat bullish. Grains, we got a ag report on Wednesday also. Wednesday's going to be a big day, really. We got some levels on some of these markets here. Looks like grains are right back down again after a big run. So just to recap again, nothing really dramatic today other than the dollar and rates. Those were the only things that were impacted by the non-farm payrolls. And coming into next week, I think we'll see if the market can hold up in the midst of higher rates coming in to next week, and then we'll see what the Fed does. Again, sign up for the newsletter. I'll be writing it this weekend. Sign up for the class. I've got 30 limit for that. So last class did sell out. I had over 30. So that'll be on Thursday at 11 Pacific. So go ahead and sign up. There's a link below. If not, I'll see you. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Take care.